first, and then when we actually build it, we're like, hey, looking at it now, it's like, come on guys, we got a chance now.
So it's an annual competition that the Society of Automotive Engineers puts on every year. This is just one of several categories, but yeah, they did it for the first time from Fort Lewis last year, and this is just our second go for it. So the competition itself is essentially we're limited to a 12-foot wingspan and a 1,000-watt motor, and we're going to try to get as much weight off the ground as possible with those constraints. It's kind of intended to model like an airliner, so we've got tennis balls that act as passengers.
So we're limited to 55 pounds, and that's set by the FAA. So the lighter our empty plane is, the more cargo we can carry and the better we score.
Yeah.
Very cool. Have you guys ever built a plane before?
Nope.
This is first time.
First time. Builds a house.
Big challenge was structural.
Yeah.
We wanted to take as much weight out as we could, so designing and building an efficient structure was one of our challenges.
Yeah. Because I remember when I drew a few fuselages, like 10 maybe, and they just all got denied by our instructor because it's like, I want it lighter, I want it thinner, I want it longer. I was like, God dang, just delete, start all over again.
We're using a computer to predict the stock market in the future. We're creating a program that uses a computer to help predict those movements in the stocks.
What makes yours different? If you can explain it to me in simple terms, what are you doing that maybe other people aren't doing?
I don't know if it's necessarily different. It's the fact that we're not having to pay thousands of dollars to have access to something like this.
Okay.
Because the hedge funds, they have things that are on using supercomputers on a whole nother level, doing the exact same thing, but they're not going to share that information.
The way you put the code together, that's the value.
Yeah.
And an individual investor like me, if I wanted to say, hey, I like Microsoft next year, what does this say? I could get it and run it.
You could theoretically purchase our code, run it on your own computer, and it will predict what it'll do tomorrow.
And you guarantee that?
I mean, hopefully.
That's the goal. But I mean, that's not our main.
No.
What we want to, we don't want to sell the code. We want to use the code for our own purposes to make money in the future.
Right.
To retire at an early age.
All right.
Take a small amount of money, $10,000 at a young age, be able to retire by 35.
My primary goal of this project was to fight extinction of Dinepazad, which is the primary communication of our elders. It is no longer being spoken among younger generations, and that's where I would like to come in. I am a visual and auditory learner, so I thought, why not learn my Navajo language by engaging through my art as a communication designer. We started off with our main saying, which means success is up to you. This is one of our newest prototypes at the point. We added 2 different sayings, which means we are still here as Navajo people. And which is our original saying at the beginning. This typeface, we wanted to make sure it was clear. The letters were visible from far distances, and our last phase of our prototyping is we're going to start adding the ligatures on the E's, the O's, and the A's. This is almost like a stop sign to the T, so it's a quick pronunciation of ta, ta. The main reason why that we believe our language is becoming extinct is because it's not documented, and among many different tribes, their language is not documented as well. So if I can show this to many of the students on campus, then they too will start to process that information of the language in their head, and hopefully that will translate into their spoken word. Well, I really foresee myself taking this to the next university I go for my master's program. It will be in Mississippi State, and I'm ready to get more Native American representation on the college campuses.
It's just cool. I think that's it. Playing drums is fun. I like it. I'd definitely be a different musician had I stayed on the Front Range. When I started Fort Lewis, I wasn't the best in my concert band program at my high school. So I know that if I'd gone to like a larger school like Boulder, for example, I probably just wouldn't have gotten as good as I have there as I did here, because there were so many other students I'd be competing with in lessons for. It would have been more like on an assembly line, you know. I just would have flown under the radar and gotten the degree, but not really built this community around me that I have here at Fort Lewis. That's what's so great about it. I've been building this repertoire list for quite a while. There's just a huge contrast of instruments and so many different types, like hundreds from all over the world. Like you look at each continent and they each have their own individual set of percussion instruments that are completely unique to their culture. And it's just neat to like find those, learn how to play them, and make music with them.
When you start something new, like there's that self-motivation in myself that like you can do it. And then looking at this plane that we all designed, it's like, wow, I can't believe we're right here.
And when you get rich, the plan is to donate back to the college, number one.
Yeah.
Probably to endow a professorship. I'll let you guess which professor that's going to be.
I think I really got the nourishment of learning with my professors, because they're much more than just professors, they are students too.
Just having the freedom and the space to just find your own way, as opposed to being lost in a sea of a bunch of people, has really helped me become a better musician.
Go Steve Flair!